Good morning. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that movement, reached out with that team continuously to over 500,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And as always, I like to say you are blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And good morning, Detailing Nights.
Hey, good day, good day. Always good to see you, brother.
What is up? What's going on?
Yeah, things have been progressing well, trying to keep on top of projects. And, every so often, I'm able to make the show so for people that might have forgotten who I am, my name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro Caribbean Business Network. So we support entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage their business is in. And then we support them with, creating a strategy for exponential growth. But I'm also an entrepreneur. I run a company called Detailing Nights. So we provide mobile, waterless car cleaning. So we do go to people's houses or their offices, clean their cars on the spot without using water and our plant-based, eco-friendly cleaning supplies. And what I'm most proud of is our youth entrepreneurship program is starting. We're doing training starting July 3rd. So if you do know somebody that, is a student or looking for a job this summer, definitely send them our way so that they can watch the info session we play and sign up if they're interested.
Wonderful, wonderful. Ryan and I were speaking in the green room before we got started, asking what's been going on. Actually, there is something that happened this week. Emma Ansa, who is a supporter and visitor of the Dr. Vibe Show, we did a very interesting pre-record session between myself, Jonathan Shaw, Carlos Morgan, and another gentleman. Is it Coach Oliver, I believe his name? And they were taught, since this is Men's Mental Health Month, she got us together to do a conversation, and she only expected it to last for an hour. It went almost 2 hours.
Right. Nice.
So it was a really great experience, and really enjoyed it. It was, speaking of Juiceman Shaw, there he is. And he was one of the participants in it. And then I know Carlos Morgan a little bit, but I didn't know this coach. I believe it's Coach Oliver. I'm pretty sure that was his name. Didn't know him, but when you watch a conversation, you'll think that we've all known each other for years.
Nice.
It went really well. Good morning, Jonathan Shaw. What's going on?
Not bad.
Good. What's been going on in your world?
I'm getting a slap.
It's what?
Yeah, I hear a little bit echo.
You're gonna echo.
Who, me?
Yeah, whenever you talk, there's a slap back.
Oh.
Okay. Well,
We sound like a reggae dance right now. It's like, yay, nice and decent.
The echo sound effect.
Are you still getting it now?
Audio check? No, it's gone.
No.
Yeah, okay. All right. I did stuff on the fly. How has your week been?
Been very interesting. My son graduated on Monday.
Nice. Graduated from high school?
Grade 8.
Grade 8, nice. Oh, same with my daughter, grade 8, yeah.
Oh, did your daughter graduate this week too, Ryan?
Last week. Was it last week? Yeah. So she had her graduation last week, and then this week was final week of school. So summer break has officially started, I would say.
Dave and Buster's yesterday for the grade 8 grads.
Nice.
Okay. So you got graduates in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So next year they go into a whole new world.
Right.
That's as much you're gonna get me singing, by the way. I only sing in the shower by myself, in the car by myself, because I tell people I want to preserve humanity.
Okay, sure.
That's
Yeah,
it.
it's all
That's it.
good.
We'll get into more of that topic deep. Anything else going on that went on this week that you wanted to touch on or chat? Juiceman, as you came to the green, I was talking about the great conversation we had that Emma and
Yes.
Lisa hosted earlier on this week that actually comes out tonight at 7 p.m. on Emma Ensa's YouTube channel. Actually, we'll talk about this. Well, no, I was gonna chat about I was gonna put something, I'm gonna pull it back for another time. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
But if nothing else,
Well, I did want to make a quick shout out to Uche Okobo. And I'm not sure if you know Uche. He actually works at the city of Brampton in their foreign direct investment office, but he's a avid and very engaged Rotarian. So I was able to go to the dinner gala for, they call it the changeover. So he's becoming kind of the district governor for Rotary. It was District 7080, but it encompasses like Toronto, Brampton, Mississauga, Innisville. It's a big area. So I just wanted to say congrats to him for becoming the governor. I know he had been president of the Rotarian Club for the Brampton club. And there's 5 Brampton clubs, but they're the one called Rotary Brampton. But yeah, I just wanted to say congrats to him. It's well deserved. He's a great guy.
and I hear about that organization periodically, but I don't hear about them enough.
Yeah, and the size and I guess international reach of Rotary,
They're big.
pretty impressive. Like it's massive. So
They're big. They're seriously big, that organization.
because I think just in that district there's about 1,400 members, and I think there's like, I don't know, 8,000 or 10,000 districts. I'm not sure how many districts, but just the one that they're talking about. But I didn't know. So all the districts do their changeovers around this time because I guess their year starts July 1st. So everything happens like that last week of June. So pretty much this week is full of all these changeovers happening all over the world. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Was the event well attended?
Yeah, packed house. I think I posted on my Instagram, so Sir Ryan Knight, but also on the ACBN one. So if people wanted to check out a couple of the pictures and the videos.
You know, and this is something I want to, well, before we go to break, just really quick, I was having some conversations with people lately about attendance at live events.
Yeah.
So both of you gentlemen go to a lot of live events. Are you seeing live events still like getting good attendance these days?
It depends on the event. It depends on the event. If it's it was a concert, day party, one of those shishi poo poo events where you pay like $300-400 for a ticket, you're seeing that sort of stuff. But if someone's trying something new, no.
Gotcha. Well, I'm always impressed that they can sell out that new Rogers Stadium at Downsview because it's like 50,000 capacity, and I think Bruno Mars sold it out. And right. So that I feel is showing that in person is definitely back. And again, this event I was at yesterday was sold out. But I think people are making the decision between, does this need to be a live event? Could it just be virtual? And so if it should be a live event, then I think people react well. If it should have been just a virtual Zoom call or webinar, then I don't think people show up in person. But I'm curious, Juiceman, your thoughts about when people do it hybrid. Do you think that hurts in person? Because they say like, hey, it's going to be streamed. So people just like, oh, I'm not going to go and just watch it online.
It's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. I find that if I have to be somewhere where I have to drive and I have the ability to stay home, you're not seeing me. You're not
right.
Not go out my house because again, it's economics. Right? Like if you have the ability to stay home, then you're going to stay home. I find that like also funerals definitely for a lot of people I don't have the bandwidth anymore to attend funerals like that anymore.
Right.
Where and I to be honest with you, for my own mental health, I don't want to go to a funeral. You know, it depends. Like if it's somebody like you guys who we talk all the time, yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna definitely go pay my respects. If I could go to the viewing, I generally attend viewings in person.
Right.
But the whole funeral thing, I'm not trying to be there.
Interesting.
Because it's yeah, man, it's a lot, man. I don't want to remember you like that. I really don't. I really don't.
Makes sense. Yes.
Okay. All right. I think this may be a conversation topic down in the future about the whole live events thing and going to events and the economics and all that. So we will put that in the back pocket, as we say, and we'll certainly catch that up in a further conversation. And now there are comments flying in, people flying in with comments. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take a break, and we're going to go back to our theme today of with our youth graduating, moving forward. What's the future for Black children? So we'll be right back. When we come back from the break, we'll do housekeeping. They'll get right into the conversation. So keep it locked on the Morning Vibe. And what I'm going to do today, I don't know. Today's one of those days. All right, let's do. Okay, let's do this.
Black Men Can Talk live on Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern, where Dr. Vibe, Kofi Sadat, and Kofi Morris come together to have real, unfiltered conversations about life, culture, and community from a Black Canadian man point of view.
Watch Primetime Saturdays on Saturdays 5 p.m. Eastern, where Aisha K. Staggers and Laura Lala Key try to make sense of the nonsense in American politics and culture.
You got it. Weekend programming, Primetime Saturday tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And then there's actually two on Sunday. There's Black Canada Talking with Cesar, Dima Musa, and myself, and then Black Men Can Talk with myself, Kofi Morris, and Kofi Sadat. So let's get to some housekeeping, and then we can get right into our conversation today. So let's do that. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. And if you have subscribed to the YouTube channel, much thanks. If you haven't, much thanks, but we need you to. Well, no, we need you. We'd like you to, not need you. We'd like you to. And if you and just whatever, just share it out. Actually, it was interesting. I was watching a show the other day, and someone was a media person saying, you know, the USA, and he says, we are now the United States of algorithm. I thought that was really interesting perspective.
Taking over, yes.
The United States of algorithm. So join the Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. There's the Discord link to advertise your business product or service on our platform. Please email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Do not forget our friend Dr. Tachi, or Dr. Tachi, who runs Indie Soup Media, independent content creators platform on YouTube, 28,500 subscribers in about 2.5 years, which puts it in the top 4% subscribers-wise on YouTube. And then don't forget, take our survey. There's the link. That's that. So, gentlemen, you both had youth that graduated in the last week or so. So Jonathan and I were chatting yesterday. I said, you know what? Why don't we have a conversation about the future of Black children? So, gentlemen, what are your thoughts on the future of Black children?
Oh, boy. You said the United States of algorithm. It's, because both my kids are born into direct internet. Like, everything is live and instant. And I remember us growing up, we grew up with the evolution of technology. Like, we remember analog, and then we remember it shifting. And so what would I'm trying to think of like my kids having kids and what world they're going to come with. Is it going to be they're coming to a world of robots and AI because it's getting so close to where they're testing out robots in the home? I saw I guess the latest movie that's come out is about robot companions, and so having in the house a robot friend, and that becoming the new norm for our kids. To me, I already feel like they're very disconnected because social media is such a big part of our youth's lives. If it now shifts to robot companions, I don't know if people watch TV, but Futurama already showed us what happens if we have robot companions. And the world got destroyed because we were too busy with our robot girlfriends. So I don't know if that's gonna, if people are seeing this has already been predicted, but I don't know.
Juiceman?
To answer the question about robots and all that other sort of stuff, we are already inundated by robots and AI in our homes right now. You've had an AI device, if you have, and I'm not going to say it too loud because she's going to wake up and start talking to me, but Siri is there, Google is there, and you also have the one that she loves to listen, Alexa is there as well, right? And for robot technology, there's things, we've had robots in the home for years, from our kids' toys with the AA and the double D battery toys. We've had them where we were able to program them and talk to them. They had I think it was called the A-Track. It was a robot thing that we used to have. You have the robots that do your that.
There we go. There we go.
And you know what's funny? And I turned off the notification.
Yeah, but Siri turned it back on, or Alexa turned it back on, right?
Are you talking about me? What do you need?
Pretty much. It just came back on as soon as it heard. So that was a big thing. That was a big thing. And the hilarious thing is I actually did turn off my notifications, but I forgot to turn off the one on the computer that says, hey.
You mean Alexa couldn't do that for you?
No, Alexa can't do it. I would have to do Siri. Siri is more plugged in with Apple devices and stuff like that.
Right.
It's a whole other conversation. But that being said, we've had devices, we've had all these things around for a very, very long time. Some people have them, some people don't. We program our lives around robotic and AI stuff all the time. All the things that we have, it's been there, Kids of our generation, we had alarm clocks that were digital. Remember those digital alarm clock radios that we used to have? And that sort of stuff. So we have been plugged in for a very long time. And if you're one of those studious nerd egghead kids like me, you were able to program as I remember as early as a VIC-20, I would be able to set timers and do different things with my computer, or Commodore 64 later, or the Trash 80s, or if you had a Wang computer or anything like that, you were able to get certain things done. And that was just the way life was.
Gotcha.
Taking over.
No, it's totally taking over right now. And I literally turned off my alerts. So I'm gonna have to go in my settings and turn them all off now.
Oh my gosh. So let me ask you, gentlemen, some lived experience when we talk about the future for Black children. Let me ask about your own. When you think about your own childhood, what is one thing that you got helped? What's one thing that helped you as a Black child, and one thing you wish you had?
Oh, wish I had. I know what helped me a lot was sports. Like sports to me was like what would you say? It's like it evens the playing field because your talent speaks for you. And so playing baseball, not a lot of Black kids are playing baseball. So I don't ever feel like I was thinking about, my race and interaction with other kids, because it was always competition. And sure, when you're on a team with a lot of white guys, you can pick up bad jokes, but I don't feel like it was ever like a direct blocking of my progression because I was Black. So it was always, if you're good, you will progress. Are people like insensitive because they might not have a lot of Black friends? Sure, I think that was there, but that was one thing that I just loved having was sports, because whether we're playing hockey, street hockey, which I feel like is a complete lost art now. There are no kids playing street hockey. I was like,
yeah, but I do see them playing basketball.
Yeah,
but not street. Well, if you're Canadian, you probably want historically hockey more than basketball.
Missing. I drive by my old neighborhood. I was at these townhouses at 900 Central Park in Brampton, and so there's these areas where like the parking lots kind of have a cul-de-sac, and it's perfect to play hockey. So every so often I'll just drive through and just want to see what's happening. It is a total ghost town. Not even at the park, not even at the pool. There's a pool in the complex. Nobody's there in the summer. Nobody's at the park. Nobody's playing hockey. I'm just like, did maybe all of us kids that live there aged out and it's only adults in the place?
I'll tell you the problems, right? Are you ready for it? Drum roll, please. The Karens. The Karens are the reasons why you don't see a lot of kids doing a lot of things anymore. Case in point, on my street, right as soon as you come in and you make a left, kids used to, one of the parents, and we call him uncle, Asian gentleman, set up a basketball net for the kids, and it was out there all year round, just basically facing the street. Any kid could come and play basketball here, because the nearest basketball nets or school where they could play is kind of far from where we are right now, and the street backs onto a park. So right in front of my house, there's a big park. All the kids play there. Parents are there, swings, whatever. So he literally put up a basketball net and the kids were playing. It got so popular that they put another one right beside it, a little bit farther.
Wow.
And when I say to you that kids were outside, they were playing, and I heard dum 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 on my door one day, and I'm like, what's going on? I went outside. I literally thought the cops were at my door because it was a cop knock. And and there was a bunch of kids, and I'd never seen this before, right? Can Joshua come on and play? I was like,
your heart must just swell up.
I was like, what? Of course he can.
Yes.
But unfortunately, he's not here today. I don't have him.
Oh, yes.
But I told Joshua, I was like, they came for you. I don't know how they and I was like, and then they would knock on the door after that, and I'm like, my childhood is back. I feel good. You know, I mean, it was like these sounds that I'd never heard before.
Exactly.
Pounding on a door, asking if your kid can come outside. And I was like, come on, go out.
Yes.
And somebody or somebody decided to call the cops on the children, call bylaw enforcement officer, and ban the kids from playing on the street, because yes, it is illegal to play road hockey or basketball or any of those.
Oh my goodness.
In Canada on the road. And I was like,
what are we talking about?
I was like, I don't know who did it. I really don't know who did it. But there was a couple of families that would always park their vehicles on the street. And that's one thing that I will say, because the kids played on the road, the bylaw enforcement people, when it came to people parking on the street, they'd never ticket anybody, because they knew the kids were playing, and they knew that some of the parents would drive over with their kids, or the kids would bring their bicycles over
Mm.
and they would just play in the park. And we've had that kind of freedom, you know, where you don't have bylaw officers coming around all the time doing certain things. But
Right.
it I don't know.
That is total madness. And it reminds me of when we used to play street hockey, because we were in the parking lot, so we're cars are parked. And thinking back, how cool the parents were, because we'd be body checking people into the cars, the ball would be hitting the cars. Not one time do I ever remember an adult coming over and being like, yo, why you kids touching my car? You know, it was, everybody just understood.
I remember them doing that, but yeah, continue.
Right. It's like, it just, no, like, I don't remember that Karen attitude happening. And we were like touching people's cars, so it wasn't like we were perfect and, you know, like we never touched a person's car. It was happening, but it was just never like the parents just knew the kids were playing. It was never like, oh, we have to shut that down. So to hear that story just irks, because we try to get our kids out of the house so that, one, they can interact with other kids, and two, so that they can get off the devices. And then it's almost like you're pushing them back inside. You're like, oh, you want to bring the police to be telling kids they can't play basketball, is totally backwards to what I feel Karens are saying online and on TV. They're like, oh, the kids are just on social media, and now Prime Minister Carney is trying to ban social media and shorts on YouTube. So clearly, enough people are complaining that kids should get off of devices. But then on the next hand, you have these people that just don't want to see kids outside disrupting their peace, which, like, I can't understand how both things are true right now.
All right, if I have permission to step in for a second, we have a few comments I'd like to share. Frequency Event Promotion says, good day, Dr. Vibe, Ryan and Juiceman. He also says, not sure if this is on topic. Reddit posted, shared. Companies are, rehiring staff because AI is costing more than expected. Who knows about that? Actually, here's another unrelated story. I was reading a report yesterday that Kawhi Leonard wants to come back to the Toronto Raptors.
It is so wild you mentioned that man's name. I just had to school my son on 2019 and Kawhi Leonard's run with the Toronto Raptors. I pulled up the YouTube video, and because he has something wild, like, oh, nobody has ever hit a game-winning shot. And I was like, whoa. Game 7, Philadelphia, where were you? Clearly you were alive. So we need to watch the entire recap of the 29th season. So I sat him down. Okay. And so that was just a beautiful time.
All right. Another comment here. Yeah, that happened to me.
Hold on.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Ryan, I did Game 6.
Yes, he did.
NBA Finals, TSN clip, where it shows that game-winning shot by Kawhi Leonard and all that other sort of stuff. So if he needs a history lesson, I have no problem. I will send you the YouTube link where it's still there 7 years later, that he can say this is exactly what happened. And Kawhi Leonard, all his highlights are in that 2-minute clip. So I'll send it to you.
Please do. It still gives me goosebumps. That is magic.
Through. There we go. Someone's saying here, yeah, that happened to me with my kids. I was like that. What the 80s are back. Another person says, education, please let your children do their homework and read books in their spare time. Take it from a single mother of 3 adult university graduates. Another person saying,
I love that.
Football tag, of course. I remember we used to play football, like touch football on the street, and going, that's crazy. You can really mash up yourself, but it was a lot of fun.
Tackle football in the snow was, but on the grass, not on the pavement.
Yeah, not on the pavement. No thanks. Not on the pavement. Let me ask also for both of you. For those raising or supporting Black children now, what's the biggest challenge you're hearing them tell you that they're seeing day to day with their kids, and either from your own experience or from other Black parents' experience? Is it school, safety, mental health, or something else?
Oh boy.
I'll give it to you. The number one thing, there's no deterrence. There is no deterrence for kids not doing their work. That is the biggest problem that kids face right now. And I'll say it this way. You can have children miss the majority of the school year, write a test and pass. You can have the majority of kids be late for school almost every day and not have a detention. If you need extra help in school, the teachers are not there to help you because it's not part of their collective bargaining agreement that they have with the school system to stay after school, to do any form of extracurricular anything, right? Blame our provincial government here in Canada for those things. So when you have children who, and then another thing too, their hormones, so you have kids who were in grade 7 and 8, never missed a day. Sorry, in grade 6 and 7, never missed a day of school. All of a sudden hit grade 8. All of a sudden they can't get up to go to class in the morning, right? And you start getting all those calls that say, this is a message from Peel District School Board, Toronto District School Board, a student in blah, blah, blah class was absent for morning attendance. Please give us a phone call, let us know that that kid is in class. And your children don't go to school. And it happens daily. It happens a lot where parents are finding out that their kids are not doing the work, not handing in the work. Remember at one time, kids would come home and they would bring home their agenda books that would tell the parents, hey, this is in and whatever. Now kids have their lockers at school. They're not bringing home the stuff. Or they'll say, oh, we finished the work at school and blah, blah, blah. And
right. And then when they do bring it home, it's all empty. And you're like, what have you been doing?
So I hope she's listening, but I hope she's not in a way, because a friend of mine had an issue with their child not doing the work. And I didn't even know this mark was possible. But they got, back in our day, we would get an F for failure. Now they have another grading system called I. Okay. So we're like, I? What the hell is an I? She says, what does that stand for? Idiot? I was done. I was done. But I don't know if it says if it means incomplete or.
I'd like to know what it stands for.
It's not. They give the kids letters, saying incomplete. They don't want to give them F's anymore because it means failure. So all these terms that they've been putting out in the world of education from a non-educator point of view, it's like if I didn't have to go to class for the whole year and I can write a test and pass, why are you making school mandatory for?
True, exactly.
Right? The kids dealt with.
Everything okay, Ryan?
Yeah, this cat went mental. She's bringing her toy for me to play with her. I was like, what does that sound? Sorry about that.
But the other thing is that we don't have, and let me choose my words carefully, we don't have the ability to talk to the children in the way that our parents would talk to us. And our parents really didn't talk to us like that. we were afraid of parent-teacher night. We were literally afraid of it. Didn't matter if we got 90. Didn't matter if we got, straight A's. We were afraid of parent-teacher meeting. You know what I mean? And once you get to a school that had the billboard that said parent-teacher night on this date, and our parents would drive by and say, hold on, you didn't tell us about parent-teacher meeting.
Right.
and our mothers, and sometimes our mothers and fathers would go to school. And, like we would joke about it. Like, our fathers would wear the big thick belt that day because it was beating time after that. If you didn't go, you know what I mean? Your father wasn't interested. Like, I mean, we had those. I don't know about your house, but we had parents that were like, they had that one sentence. Oh, you don't know how to spell. Go pick up a book and read. Go pick up a book and read. That was a sentence for everything. Or in my house, I had to read the dictionary.
Encyclopedia, yes. Go grab a book.
We got that 1953 Webster's dictionary that starts with aardvark, and you have to read that the whole thing and know all. I'm glad for it now because of my vocabulary, but back in the day, oh no, I say I'm bored to my mom. Oh, and my aunt.
Right.
And my other aunt was an educator. Oh no.
But I actually remember when I got to grade 11, and I remember it now because the teacher, Madame Kirby McIntosh, she actually had her retirement party. Was it yesterday? No, the day before, so Wednesday. So shout out to Madame McIntosh, and she was my first French teacher in high school. But then she was my English teacher in grade 11. And I remember after our first test, she pretty much stood in front of the class and said, y'all are not ready for what's after high school. Because the grammar, she's like, we have to go back to fundamentals. So she taught military sergeant style grammar. And then grade 12, Mr. Mirando, she saved us from him because he was like the true general of English. And if we hadn't gotten that, I would say, instead of just pushing us through mentality that's happening now in school, and she said, no, you have to learn these fundamentals of grammar and how to, put together essays, and everything that she taught was what he's expecting. And then I feel he was like the precursor to what was going to happen in post-secondary. And he's like, no, you're not, nobody in this class is graduating by not being able to actually write properly. So I remember everybody that was in her class passed his class, and everybody that wasn't in his class failed his class. So that ability to see what students actually need and not just push them through, I think is doing a big disservice for our classes now. Like you're saying, Juiceman, if a person cannot even be there and still show up and write the test and pass it, they clearly don't care if students are retaining the knowledge. Like just passing a test is one thing, but actually knowing the subject matter is a totally different thing.
If I have permission to interrupt a few things. First of all, Juiceman, I need you to move a little bit to your left. There. Okay, there we go. Right, thank you. Fantastic. Because I want to make sure people who are watching via the phone can see the full visage. So thank you so much. Other things, some comments here. Frequency of Info says, I think today's topic should be a continuous monthly show segment. Okay, what do you mean with the future of Black children? So tell me what will be the monthly segment. Like, is it focusing on Black youth? So tell me. So my showed me the grading system. I was like a 50. Like a 50 is a D now. There we go.
Gotcha.
Also, Dr. Tat says, good morning, all. Good to have you here. And she goes, I used to love to read the encyclopedia.
Yes.
Okay, you used to love reading it. All right, another thing I'm going to do, we're going to put up a poll to see if anyone can do some engagement more. So, I'll since we're on the historical base a little bit. So growing up, what helped you most as a Black child? 1, family support, 2, teacher or mentor, 3, community programs or church. And if you guys want to answer that at all, out of those 3?
I would say teacher and mentor. And I have a weird story about a couple of teachers that I've had, if I may.
Go ahead.
But, so grade 11, Mr. Mux. Mr. Mux was a math teacher. And I know he hates the story. And everybody has told this story because it's folklore right now. It started like this, and now the story's gone like this. So Mr. Mux was our teacher, and he basically said, look, number 1, you're taking advanced math. You are not going to switch over next year, grade 12, and take general math just so you can skate by. We're going to do advanced math. Your kids, and back in those days, if you did not take advanced courses, you were not going to grade 13 as we have in Canada, or OACs, depending on how old you are, to get into university, right? In Canada, it was a 5-year program to get to university. That being said, Mr. Mux said, look, you're going to have a quiz every week with the material that I teach, and the information on the quizzes will be on the test. And if you don't ask for extra help after each quizzes that you do, you might as well just go apply at McDonald's right now, because I can't help you.
Yes.
Right? So we took it seriously. We all wanted to do well. And we had our little groups of people. And that's one of the things I can say, that the school I went to, everybody was all about doing their work, being scholastically inclined. You could not play sports unless you had a 75 average or better. That was just the way it was. It didn't matter. You had to have a 75 average or better, or be asking for extra help. And what was funny is all of the sports coaches were all the math, science, and English.
So there's nowhere to hide.
Mr. Berman was a football coach, right? So he was a history teacher. So you could not skate around it at all, because they were all right. So we did the quiz. First quiz, was great. We did the review, and that's another thing too. Every time there was a test of anything we did, the quizzes, there was always a review. So you knew the questions that were going to come up on the quiz because you had the review, right?
Yes.
And the way our periods were done is you had one class. Sometimes test day was always when you had a double period of that class. Sometimes they were together. Sometimes you went to lunch and you came back and you had the same class again. So the way it worked out was we had the review, then we wrote the test. So we would always tell certain kids who were skipping class, yo, it's review day, man. Don't be skipping today. No, whatever. No, whatever. And they failed a couple of quizzes and whatever the case may be. Then we had the review for the first test. Right? And it was generally all the quiz questions in order. All Mr. Mux did was take the 4 quizzes, same questions, put them on the test, and we went and rewrote the test. So we're literally flying through it. Like, we had a whole hour to write this. We're like, here you go.
We good.
20 minutes. And then 1 or 2 people are like this, like their head is like this, and they're whatever. But again, you don't say anything. And we're leaving the test. We're like, no, that was easy, man. Dapping each other up on dapping each other, blah, blah, blah. Right? So next class comes along. And in those days, it's not like now. They gave out the papers in who got the highest order. So I'm like the 3rd person who gets his test. And then he's handing out the tests and whatever. Then he gets to the kids who failed. And literally goes back to his desk, pulls out some pieces of paper, and staples a McDonald's application to the people's test and hands it out to them and puts it on the table. and everybody got the message. If that was today, you'd have the parents screaming, "Oh, you can't do that! You're telling
It'd be a whole town hall discussion about it."
Listen, it was the greatest motivating tool ever. And then I had another teacher, Wason Troy. God rest in peace. Wason Troy, I had him for COM 300 when I was taking radio broadcasting at Humber College. And he was my English teacher. That's what they called COM 300, communications. And he got my paper and I wrote it and I handed it to him. And he looked at it and he pulls me outside of class at the end of class. And I go, "What's up?" He says, "I was reading your paper. I just skim reading it. And this is garbage."
Hey, what?
He goes, "Jonathan, you're going to be writing for radio. You're going to be writing as a director. I need you to inspire me. I don't need you to write something where you think you're going to get a good grade." What I mean by that is you basically wrote me a paper where you were writing about peanut butter. And you said, you know what, some peanut butter is smooth, some peanut butter is crunchy. It's made by Jif. We have Skippy. We have Kraft. We have all these things. And what a wonderful thing it is to have a peanut butter sandwich. I had a peanut butter sandwich one. He's like, "Yo, that's the most boring crap I've ever had. Don't ever send me this crap." He says, "You know how many papers I have to write? Or sorry, I have to read and grade? And you give me this stupidness for me to look at? I'm not even bothering to read this crap." He says, "If you're going to write me a paper, write it like this: peanut butter, smooth, crunchy, or deadly. Now you have my attention."
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
And from that point onward, I've written like that. And this man here, great teacher. I've had some great teachers over my lifetime. But if students could have teachers like that who were to inspire students. But again, we live in a world right now where we want to give everybody a participation trophy. If somebody, can't run a mile, all of a sudden, they get exempted from it. Or why do I get, why, it's all this thing where, little Johnny can't do this, and little Johnny, why are you making him feel away? And I mean, Ryan, you were talking about it before with sports. There has to be a winner and there has to be a loser. But now everybody gets a participation pin.
Right. Exactly.
I'm not putting no participation. My kids know better. If you bring a participation trophy home to the house, it's going
leave that in your locker.
It's gone. You don't want that.
But that's where the teacher taking that extra time to just know your potential and say, you know what, we're not, because easily he could have taken those papers and been like, okay, if this is what they're submitting, and whatever happens in life to this person, so be it. But the stapling of the McDonald's application, this is garbage. I know you can write something compelling. It totally changed the trajectory of your life. And that's where I was thinking, like with Miss McIntosh, it's seeing a teacher stop you in your tracks and be like, no, we are going to get this right. Because easily she could have just pushed through and said, you know what, hey, this is where they're at, and send it to the next person. But teachers that take that extra step, and I actually, as I talk to my daughter, I hear some of her teachers do this as well, where they take unique approaches to teaching things, taking things that they might be interested in, Dungeons and Dragons, and infusing that into the course so that they, retain what they're learning. It's not just theory in the book. I love that it still exists, that teachers are still being unique. But yeah, it's a lost art to see what the potential of the students are and take time to actually unlock it. That's what we're expecting from our teachers. We don't want to send our students to go learn, or our kids to go learn, and they come back the same. They're supposed to come back, I would say, a bit better off than how we sent them.
If I can jump in again, just some comments that are flowing through here. Katrina says, family support. My family is a bit advocate for reading.
Yes, yes.
Okina Wright says, fundamental.
Yes, yes.
All right. Also, Dave Lindsay's in the house, says, greetings, brothers. Great topic. He also says, the quote, no child left behind, unquote, has done more harm than success, especially since teaching style has changed. There are way too many teachers that have adopted the babysitter method.
Oof, gotcha.
Question here for both of you. Good morning. What can we do to encourage more young Black men to consider careers in education? Interesting question.
Yeah, okay, Juiceman, do you remember any Black male teachers that you had?
One, but I will be the first one to admit that I got into the education system as well too. I started teaching courses on how to speak, how to actually engage with people, because I found that a lot of people had been taught to use what teachers refer to as an inside voice. And I've been asking teachers every year when on the first day of class, what's your inside voice? What does it mean? What does it mean? Because what they've done is they've told people not to be able to speak, because you tell kids to be less expressive in the way that they want to express themselves. If you need quieter, that's one thing, but don't lose this. Don't lose those pipes. Don't lose that voice, because I can't tell you how frustrating it is as a person who deals with sound, or a person who is doing sometimes conferences, and you get somebody up there who can't speak in front of a group of people, and the person behind them, their voice is carrying to the back of the room, and you get some person who stands up there, hello everybody, I'm here to give a speech. Could you speak up? No, I don't. And people spend thousands of dollars at Toastmasters learning how to speak effectively, when at 5 years old they knew how to speak. They knew how to speak. You know how easy it is to do it, to take a 4 and 5 year old who cannot read. I can bring them into a studio and say, hey, just follow what I do and voice this. In and out of the studio in 15 minutes. An adult with all their bad habits because they can't speak.
Right.
Well, short little story about your question, Nurse K, and always good to have you here. For those who may or may not know, my dad was a public school teacher for 38 years in the same public school. So when I was younger, after I graduated from university, I want to become a teacher. So I became a teacher's assistant in a school where it was the same principal that he had for most of the time that he was at his school. Most of the staff there, great experience. Like work-wise, one of the greatest environments I've ever been in. And also the principal, he was an amazing guy. Because especially back then, we need more Black male teachers. We need more teachers. So applied the first time, didn't get in. Applied the second time, was on the waiting list. And I said, you know what? I don't want to become a lifelong applicant. Now here we're in January 26, 2026. We still have the challenge of not enough Black. You know how many people still come and say, you should be a teacher? Said, what?
Yes.
Right? I'm going, what? And, maybe a deeper conversation, Nurse K, about, and I think it's another great, why aren't there more Black male teachers? I know there's a number. Go ahead.
I'll tell you why. Exactly what you just said. I'm one of the so now you have to be vetted. You have to be vetted when you do any sort of thing with the school system. So for me, I tried getting on the vetting list, and the only reason why they kind of bumped me up a little bit is because I went to a Black organization that actually gets Black people vetted with the school boards. And here in Canada, I'm trying to get part of the Toronto District School Board. So I had to, go through all the vulnerable sector checks. I did all that sort of stuff. I gave them the material that I'm going to be talking about. I had to give them transcripts of exactly what I'm going to say to the students because of what's been going on.
Wow. Come on.
stuff, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
I've been waiting for this. And Dr. Vibe, you're right. There's many people on the front lines who are, taking your applications in and doing the work for you, but the back end for your approval isn't happening. And now that the provincial government has stepped in to do this, it's red tape.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there going, okay, well,
Gotcha.
Yeah, I didn't want to become a lifelong applicant. So I tell people, well, I help teach people globally now. Like the classroom was just too much, but it's still the same thing. Where are the Black male teachers? Part of it is the process that you have to go through that other probably cultures don't have to go through when you apply. So another person saying, yes, teach. Katrina says it is very important to grab the reader's attention. Someone saying here, my principal was Black.
Hey,
Another
nice.
person here saying you just got to look at the children now and their education. Half of them don't even know how to read or write in basic math. Oh my God, basic math is like foreign language to them. Another person saying it's by design. Katrina, always good to have you here. I had 2 male professors throughout my college career, both in probability and statistics. Another person here saying wrestling coach taught history, and the other was basketball coach who taught biology. There you go.
And reading is that piece that was like my biggest fear, that my kids wouldn't be able to read. Once they unlocked the ability to read, I feel like that opens up everything, like academically, education wise, for them. And so that type of focus on kids reading should be mandatory, like foundational, kindergarten, senior K to grade 1. That has to be like, I can't understand how you can push children through a system and they can't read like that. Like it just doesn't compute for me. It's like math, of course, hey, some people are slower to get the concepts of it, but reading has to be foundational, mandatory. Like you can't pass grade 3 and can't read. Like to me, something is broken if that's happening.
I'll tell you why it happens though.
Mm.
Because it's easy to fake. It's easy to fake being able to read. And I'll tell you why. Now, for myself, and this isn't even a secret. I stuttered really bad growing up.
Okay.
So I had to learn how to be able to speak aloud. And it's kind of funny, the career that I chose is actually voice acting, where I actually have to read.
Yes.
And I sucked reading, and I still do. I have to work on it. I literally have to get into the right headspace and do all these things to be able to read, not to stutter, not to do any of these things. And I still struggle with it to this day. That being said, children they don't do the same things that they did once before, because again, the Karens in the school who don't want you to single out their child to be able to say, okay, Johnny, the next page, you got to read the next chapter.
Right.
Right? Because, and that shyness. So when I became very introverted because I struggled with reading. And there's many different things that happen to kids, but I've always been one of those individuals. And I say this to my son. And again, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, but listen to the context of what I'm saying. My son has had a hard time getting up in the morning and going to school. My son would complain about walking to school every day. And one day I picked him up and I said, we're not going to go inside. We're going to wait here. And he says, what are we waiting for? I said, you'll see. And we were sitting in the car, and a young lady with cerebral palsy walked by the house. And you heard clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop, as she was walking by. And I said, see that young lady? She goes to school every single day. She's never missed a day. It's clockwork that she goes to school. She has never one day used her physical, and I don't want to say limitations, but her physicality, let's call it that, or whatever the proper word is, to stop her from going to school. And because nowadays everybody wants to be able to check a box and saying, I have this issue, I have that issue, I have that issue, whatever. Again, I'm part of the 10%. I am left-handed. I remember going to school and having those right-handed desks.
Oh, the painful.
Like this.
Painful.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
And you would go into a classroom if there was one of those desks, you would run to it.
Yeah, exactly. And and we just had to deal with it, right?
Yes.
We had to deal with it, right? There's at that time of my life, I was taller than most kids, and sometimes
Same here.
And one of my friends says this because he laughs at it all the time. He's like, "How did you start off at 5'5"? Everybody was 5'6", 5'7" who was on the team, right? And he was 5'8", so he felt great about himself.
Yes.
He's bigger than everybody else. And he says, "You went to Texas, you came back, you're 5'11". What happened?" And he hasn't grown any more past 5'8". He's still at 5'8". Right? And this is the way the world works sometimes is we don't we make excuses for the things we find hard.
Yep.
Instead of trying to tackle some of those hard things. I'm glad that I put in the work to do things that I struggled with. I would not have the career that I have. I would not be able to do certain things. And I find that, and I'm just speaking for my son, we went fishing, and because he didn't catch a fish in the first 30 seconds that he put the pole in, he wasn't interested in doing it anymore.
Wow.
Basketball, same thing. He couldn't get the ball in the hoop. He wanted to give up. And the world allows people to give up way too easily. It gives them chance after chance after chance to be able to, again, be pushed ahead instead of just sitting down and saying, you know what, hey, let's take a half an hour with this kid and let's see if we can find some ways to help this child learn to be able to read.
Yes.
And read effectively. And if we take the time, and again, class sizes is an issue. Time is another issue. Tutors are another issue. There's some people who have dyslexia, but there's some kids who have a thing in math called dyscalculia. There's so many children, and I mean, it's a joke, but it's not. My kids, people of my generation would say, why do we have to learn fractions? Why do we have to learn fractions? Why do we?
Where am I going to use this in life?
Why we're never going to have to learn this in life, right? Well, hello. This is a quarter cup.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You need 8 of these to make 2 cups, right? So if this is the only measuring cup you have in your house to make juice,
for the juice, man,
you need to learn how to do this.
Yes.
I ask so many kids, and we've all dealt with it from the time we were 4. When you're 4 years old, you should be able to make juice. And it was an art in how to make Kool-Aid.
You read my Legend My Kool-Aid.
It was an art. You had to listen. Because you were responsible for giving the family their juice in the house, right? Whether it be Kool-Aid, lemonade, whatever, the red juice.
And it's gonna be critiqued, like, yo, who made this?
I asked my son to make juice, so he literally wrote down how to make juice. 3 different attempts to make juice, and I was like, my gosh. And the second time I said, 2 cups, just take 2 cups. He's just putting in a little bit of sugar in the cup thing and thinking that that's 2 cups. I said, no, it has to be level. and showed him how to make the juice and whatever, and still no concept on how to do it. And we had to go through this over and over and over again to learn how to make juice. I went to his friends. I said, hey, do you know how to make juice? No. You've never made juice? No. And I'm like, isn't that like a rites of passage? Like you're 4 years old, you learn.
Yes.
15, 14 years old and never made juice in their house. Ever. Never learned how to do fractions. But again, I digress.
Man, I love
that.
So I appreciate the convo. I do apologize. I do have to.
I know you got to run.
We'll see you, brother.
Take care, man.
We'll see.
All right, we're continuing on with the show, and let me just do a little bit of a change up here, and we'll get to everyone's comments in just a moment because there are a pile of comments. So I want to make sure the ones that are commentable get commented on. So let's do this. Let's do this. Sorry, we're continuing on. So let me get to some comments, and I'm going to put up another poll. But let's do comments first. All right. And I got a whole pile of them. So let's go do them in order here. Okay. Someone's saying basic math is no longer basic. They are teaching to code. 3rd grade is pre-algebra. Not kidding. Also, it's money. The more children they push through, the more funding they get. Because I saw this with my sons. Back in the day, you would fail. All right. Surf Your Life says, hi, gentlemen. Hi, Surf Your Life. Got more comments coming to you in a moment. Feels like it. I learned from reading on my own. School was a popularity contest. Someone saying here, I hated school until high school. Another person saying, my eldest son never missed a day of school, and now in college is always be on the honor roll and dean's list. Congratulations. Left-handed people, yes, as well. We adapt easier than right-handed people. So you got 2 left-handers right on the screen right now. Also, someone saying pushing into the school system is important, but how we create, quote, Saturday school, unquote, within the community that addresses deficits and pours into our children, this would be a game changer. Surf Your Life says, we just have to continue to build opportunities for them where we are not depending on others for our progress and future. Also, she says, we have to recognize that the school system is not the end all and be all for learning. Teach at home in the community as well as allow them to be rounded young people. Katrina says, my son has dyslexia and struggled when he was in school. I made it my mission to help him get through it. There you go. Surf Your Life says, juice son making juice. Laugh emojis. All right. So we're caught up with topics. Comments here. I'm just going to clean up and then I'm going to put a poll on the screen. Let me just do that first right now. So let's stop. Okay. So got to choose because I got so many good ones. Okay. Here we go. Here's a poll for everybody. Do you agree that Black children today face more pressure than we did growing up? So press 1, yes, way more. 2, about the same, or 3, less pressure, but different should be challenges. So that's the poll we're running with now. And it's live in the background, but would love you to vote if you can. And let's see what else we got going on here. Juiceman. Okay. So Justin, I got a question for you. What's one specific change in schools that you believe would immediately improve life for Black children where you live?
We got to stop calling things diversity, number one. That's probably the biggest thing. I understand that diversity means a lot to people in 2026, but let's call it what it is. We need to start working on how to understand cultures a little bit more than we do and integrating differences into the world as opposed to negating them. And I find that when my son had teachers that he could relate to and teachers who looked like him, he was a lot better off in school. Um, I found that in the area that I live in is predominantly one culture.
Yep.
And because of that, and that culture doesn't always have to be white, but if it's predominantly one culture, that majority sometimes wins. But I find that when you have certain educators from that group, they will kind of push ahead their nationality of student, and the black ones tend to suffer. And there were many black parents at my son's graduation who said the same thing, where they were like, we survived the last 10 years.
That says something.
And a lot of the kids were like glad to just get out of the school. Not that the school was bad, but just that they just were like glad to leave it, because there were certain things that happened at that school where they were like, I don't know. Now the school has a black principal. They've had a black principal for the last 2 months. It's, again, my son's done, so I won't know what's going to happen in that school moving forward. But there was a lot of things that I wish happened at that school over the years. The ability for them to have a proper Black History Month would have been great. The ability for them to bring in a and they did it in March. They actually did it on the principal's last day. The former principal decided, we're going to have career day, where they brought in myself and some other people from the community and talked about our careers. And I'm thinking, I've been trying to get this done since Joshua was in JK, and now you're doing it, 10 years later, when he has like 2 months or 3 months left of school. Like that's kind of what I looked at it. Like, there needs to be more of a focus on what kids are going to be, and show them the different avenues that we have. Dr. Vibe, I remember before the pandemic, you participated in a thing that our principal friend, Ainsworth Morgan, had done, which was an organization called Stand Up, where they brought in black men. It was what, like 100 black men to come in and talk to kids about their careers. And it was done at one of the universities. It was actually done at George Brown. It was at Ryerson first, which is now TMU here in Toronto, and then at George Brown College, where they brought in black men from different arenas to talk about their careers. And there was another organization called 100 Strong, which was 100 black men, that all these men did was make sure that young black men between the ages of 12 and 13 got the education they needed, got the devices they needed, got the tutoring they needed to become better young men. And it was great. It was great.
Nice. So glad to update our poll that we're running right now. Do you agree that Black children today face more pressure than we did growing up? Again, 1, yes, way more. 2, about the same. 3, less pressure, but different should be challenges. Thank you for the people that have voted so far. And you can only do this when we're on live. So if you haven't voted yet, please vote. We'd like to have you as part of the engagement we have going on here. So again, more comments. David says, put it up here. Got to get these things. So now parents are destroying their kids. Parents are the problem. Interesting. Also, Surfy says, pretty much all 4 of my Black boys did not full enjoy their school experiences. Another person saying here, true, school is not interesting or fun for most children. And that's an unfortunate fact. And it's interesting, again, leaning back to my dad's years in education. He left education because he said the kids wanted fun. They didn't want there to learn. And he said that, but also said the parents were becoming more and more challenging. But he thought that, like, in his day, school was work first, not fun first. And he said it was time to him to exit after that. So if he says, bring back after school at the school programs and bring back school spirit. Well, again, with the funding cutbacks these days, after school programs are becoming few and far between. Look at this. Boys to Men, they took out all these programs. Yeah. Katrina saying, back in the day, we had to go to the library, find a book, read it, and then write a report. Book reports. The good old days of book reports. Now in the days, children don't have to leave their homes. Everything is handed to them. Also says, back in the day, we didn't have the internet or social media. True again, too.
Yeah, we had reference libraries. You remember the days of reference?
Oh gosh, I remember going. I live in Toronto, going to the Metropolitan Toronto Library downtown, and also in university going to Robarts Library. And man, that's a whole other conversation.
The one thing I'll say is this: I looked forward to learning things I was interested in, and we had a thing called electives, where I remember doing things like, and you're gonna, again, don't laugh at me because some of the things I picked, but rocketry, where we learned how to build rockets. We had Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons
for a minute. They even had disco dancing as an elective, after, for people who like to dance. Like I can, and again, I'm not ashamed of it. I did as something to do for my balance, for my flexibility, jazz, acro, and ballet. So jazz, I can dance jazz. I did acrobatics and I did ballet. And no, I didn't wear a tutu. Don't even bring that up. But I was a very good dancer. Still am. But the issue is I did things that I was interested in, and my mother steered me into those programs. One of the things that I think is needed, especially for young men, young Black boys, and Black children in general, is more male representation in schools. If you can't be there, let's say, to do the homework and all the other sort of stuff, be there as maybe a lunch monitor, if you can get in that way. Be there to help with some of the programs that they have. I got my vulnerable sector check and my police check just so I could go on 1 and 2 school trips with my kids. I think it's also very important to involve yourself and make sure that there's this, and I know this is a conversation for another day, but I made sure that I got involved, that the school knew me. They knew that they couldn't just, and I find that schools do a lot of this with Black women. They tend to, when the mothers come to school, they look at the mothers like, okay, well, you must come from a single parent household.
That assumption. Yeah.
The father's not involved. That's why your kid is so bad, because their statistics have shown that, when the male is not there, the kids are this, whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And they love to throw those statistics out there. But then they see me show up, and all of a sudden it's a whole different conversation. And you have to, regardless if you get along with the mother or not, or if you get along with the father, you have to be a united front when it comes to the education of your child. I can't say that loud enough. When myself and my son's mother went to school together, all of a sudden it was a different ball game. I'm not proud of it, but they mentioned something to me at school, and I went off, and my son's mother was like, Jonathan, just cool. And she literally was pulling me out of the school. And it actually made our relationship better because she saw how passionate I was about my son, right? And when it comes to our son, we are together in ways that I cannot explain. Like, it's all about him. And we're adult enough at this stage of our lives to be able to put whatever differences we have aside in order to be there for our children. Gone are the days where mommy went to school and went to the parent teacher meeting, waited for, the report card to come home. And then, the father would basically pull off his belt and beat the kid and say, yo, you got to do better in school. Those days are gone. You can't do that no more. Men have to be very much involved with their child. We are seeing it. I'm not saying that we're not, because I'd be lying if, like, almost every guy that's on my Facebook, was at, and their kids are graduating, was very much a part and has been a part of the children's lives. But we need more of it. We need to change that narrative that that Black men are not involved with their children, and it's all about the Black mothers, and the Black mothers are doing it themselves, right? We got to take out that single parent narrative. If that is what it is, then that's what it is. But we got to make it more harmonious when it comes to the children, that they have yin and yang. Like, there's things that the mothers of my children are way better at than I am, and can sit down and do those things with the kids. And there's things that I'm way better at it than them, and doing that homework. But again, to the child, the kids have to bring that homework home. They got to do the work. And as much as you want to be able to call the school and say, hey, did little Johnny and little Stevie have, homework today? We shouldn't have to keep asking all the time. Like, I wish there was a way that the schools actually sent the homework to the parents and said, oh, did you finish this? Type of thing. I wish that was the case. They send us alerts for everything else. They should just send us alerts for the homework.
Got it. Okay, some more comments we got going on here. Surf Your Life says dictionary and encyclopedias were my research sources. LOL. Another person is saying also stepping out of comfort zones helps. Surf Your Life says great conversation, guys. Keep up the great work. Have a blessed day. Right back at you. Katrina says my mother bought me this encyclopedia theme keeps on coming up. Bought me an encyclopedia for my 16th birthday. I was so upset. However, that encyclopedia stayed with me. I still have it. Wow. Love that. Chella says they want to learn something, but something should be interesting. I had great teachers that inspired and nurtured my curiosity. That was my point about fun. Excuse me. I come from a large family of educators. Another person saying here, discipline is key, especially at home. Interesting perspective here. I'm not Black. I'm Greek American. My father's from South Carolina and my mother is Greek, but it helps teachers and families work closer with one another. True. Katrina says, I agree. The conversation does change when both parents are present and involved in their child's education. And time 188 says, let's these fathers have some quality time with their children because it's not working with all these baby moms blaming everything on baby daddies. Point I'll put out there, whole other conversation though, but very, very true. So I actually wanted to show the results of the latest poll that I put up. So do you agree that Black children today face more pressure than we did when we were growing up? So 75% said yes, way more. And 25% said less pressure, but different challenges. So I'm going to stop that poll. I'm going to put up one more as we start. We'll be winding this down in a few moments. So I'm going to put up this poll. Today, what do you feel Black children are most missing? 1, positive role models. 2, safe spaces to be themselves. 3, real talk about money and power. So please choose 1, 2, or 3. So if you're watching this live, yes, you can vote on this live. You can't vote during the replay. So you live people, go at it. All right. So also want to put up some more comments we got going on here. My ex-husband and I were at every meeting while married and after we divorced. Nice. Our children are great. I love this. I love this quote. Our children are greater than our differences. Facts. That, I'm gonna make sure. I almost feel like writing that down right now. Yeah, I know that is the line of the day. That is, I'm gonna write that down right now, because I'll export the chat, but I want to write it down and I want to share that because there's many situations where I can use that with others. Are greater.
As you do that, Dr. Vibe, if I can add this, one of the greatest things that actually happened at my son's graduation is the factor is that he called me over and asked me to tie his tie, and I was able to do it. Something that changed from when I was in school. But the greatest thing that actually happened was the dinner that happened afterwards and the conversation that happened with his mother and his grandmother and his godmother there that were present. So we all went to go out and eat, and we basically were just celebrating him. And I basically said to his mom, in front of him, that, at one time we both loved each other. And if we didn't, he wouldn't be here, period. End of discussion. And we've spent the last 10 years getting him to this point. And this is just, quote unquote, a mic check for the rest of his life. Like this was nothing. If you thought this was hard, I mean, high school is a whole different ballgame.
Oh yeah.
So this was just a mic check. This is like, okay, whatever. And I warned him about it. I said, man, this was nothing. Grade eight and getting from, and what I used to tell him was, your whole life up until you started school was to get you to put the crap in the toilet. That's all you needed to do. And you laugh at it now because you think it's easy. You get that urge, you go to the toilet, right? You're going to look back at what you learned up to grade 8 as that kind of phase in your life where all you needed to do was put, a ball in the basket. That's it.
Yeah.
And when you look at high school, once you complete it, it's going to seem like it's easier. And that's how life gets. But then the real world starts.
Oh yeah.
And every day is about getting the ball in the basket. And you'll miss more than you get it in. And that's what we're trying to teach you. We're trying to teach you that all the things you're going through in life right now are to prepare you for the real world. And the real world is not about putting you forward. It's about literally keeping you back on purpose. Nobody's giving you money for participation. You may get, I laugh about it now, but in the winter, I never used to buy an ice scraper because the police would stop you and, give you, ask you, have you been drinking? No. And they would give you a free ice scraper and you go about your business. And they would give you coupons. They'd give you certain coupons.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Now they're like, have you been drinking? No. Okay, keep going. They don't give you nothing. You know what I mean? So this, So this is where we are right now in the world, where you don't get anything for being good, but you definitely get penalized for being bad.
Okay, again, we're just saying this, running this poll right now. Today, what do you feel Black children are most missing? 1, positive role models. 2, safe spaces to be themselves. And right now, everyone answering so far says real talk about money and power. Also, agreed, that quote about our children are greater than our differences. Someone says it's a great quote. Also, Bone Collector says the problem is Black men are abandoning their kids. Too many single mothers. That's another conversation topic, though, but it is related. Lastly, single mothers epidemic and absent fathers. Katrina goes deeper, says, real talk and money. Some children grow up to and become adults and don't understand how to balance a checkbook, how to invest or save money. I would like to see teachers teach more about real life.
Is home economics even a course anymore? Or correction?
No, terror system, I don't think so.
Correction, they changed it to family studies. I remember taking family studies in grade 7 and 8. But after that, not at all.
Yeah. Red Mule saying, no, it's not a course anymore. Yeah, it isn't. No. Everyone's saying no. So there you go.
Okay, I just dated myself. I'm sorry, but
So okay, not now. No, not now. Yeah, agreed. So yeah, keep on voting, people. Keep on voting. Not so we're not going to be on all day, but we could. So let me ask you, if we were serious about Black children's futures, what's one thing as adults what is one thing adults must stop doing and one thing we must start doing this year?
Stop saying you can't do the courses that your children are doing right now in school. Like, don't say that you were garbage at math. We invented math. We invented science. We invented English. We invented history. We invented all the courses, all the core subjects. Black people were the ones who invented them. But to keep saying to your children that you're not good at it, then get good so you can teach them how to do it. How are you expecting them to do stuff that you can't do? That's half the problem right there. I didn't know how to do half the things I could do, but God bless YouTube. I had to learn because my kids were going to come up and ask me how to do it. They want their bike fixed and they want daddy to come fix their bike. They want to learn how to cook. There's certain things in life I didn't know how to make. Even though I'm a good cook, I had to learn how to make. I could follow a recipe. Okay, throw this in there, whatever, taste it, chef it up, and then boom, you've done it. But when it comes to their education, you have to learn, or they have to learn. And some of the things, I would go to my kids and I said, how do you have a smart device but do dumb crap on it? You have all the information in the world at your access. You know, you didn't have to take 2 buses and a train to go to the reference library to get a book that you then had to photocopy, right? And circle those pages and then use those as your footnotes and bibliography for the things that you read. You know, you have the ability now to buy books or to get the ebook and just read and have them read it to you. We didn't have all those things. You have all the things if you get that information. But one of the things we have to do, especially as parents, is stop saying to ourselves over and over and over again, you know, I wasn't good at math. Well, it's time you get good. You've had 30 years to do it. You know, it's time you get good.
All right, more comments. I had to teach my kids. Another one here about the whole black man, black woman thing. They pick a check, not a man. Okay. Also, there are some things, Chella says, that, quote, Saturday school, unquote, can address. Well, in the greater Toronto area, there is at least one school I know that operates on a Saturday for Black children. I know a couple and a single mother that have their children going to it. Bone Collector says, we need more community-based centers. Most kids don't have places to unwind. Video games ain't doing it. I'll agree with that. Update, Ontario high school students must now pass a mandatory financial literacy test as part of their grade 10 career studies GLC 2.0 to graduate. Okay, thanks for the update. Also, the mandatory financial literacy graduate requirement officially starts in September. Okay, thank you for that update. Another person, I was hoping that Dr. Umar Johnson would provide some model for Black children, but he's still working on his school. That's a whole other conversation, Rick. Then Katrina says we can start holding our children accountable and not let them give up. because they feel like it's hard. Another person saying, AI will write a paper for you. We'll do all the work for you. More pencil on paper. Agreed.
However, let me stop with that AI thing. Even though Chat GPT and AI can do all those wonderful things for you, they are checking now.
Oh, yes.
Where your information is coming from. So
you
can't just floss it anymore like kids have been doing, where they're getting AI to write their papers for them. And because what it does is it takes how you were able to generate that information and where your sources are based on the bots that they use to get that information now as well. I can tell, as a writer, I can tell when something is AI generated very quickly.
Got it. So imagine a Black child you love 10 to okay, let's put it, imagine your son 10 to 20 years from now. What do you want their life to look like, and what are you personally willing to do to help them get there? That's a question for everybody, but I'm going to put that in the chat.
I think the number one thing that I've been trying to stress to my son is the worst thing in life is wasted talent. And that's a quote from a movie that I love called The Bronx Tale. And there's so many life lessons in that movie that I think are very, very important. But that one wasted talent thing is probably the number one thing. And my son is incredibly gifted with a lot of raw talents that he chooses not to use because he's at the age right now where, you know, those aren't the things that make him popular. Those aren't the things that, you know, they get likes for. And I think because of the social media impact on my son, because he was, you know, he's a tablet kid. Like he was born with a tablet basically in his hand. And they've grown up with that. Like his era didn't know a time when there wasn't a tablet. And you can tell kids that have that's what they do. They had to learn how to go outside. They had to learn how to play. They don't have a thing called imagination. They're bored as soon as it's literally like, and if you take it away, it's like they don't know what to do with themselves. I said, if you want your kids to actually do something, change the Wi-Fi password.
Wow.
Seriously. You want them to clean their room? Change the Wi-Fi password.
I didn't. That's a imaginative answer.
You want to go, boss, go clean the snow. Go cut the grass. Daddy, I'm tired. Daddy, how come the Wi-Fi password doesn't work? It works once you cut the grass.
And then you put it into that device so they don't know what it is.
He can't get on my devices anymore. Yeah, not at all.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. He thought I was stupid. So he's like, Daddy, can I have your phone? I go, what for? I'm going outside. I'm going to go play with my friends. I need a way of getting in touch with you when I'm outside playing with my friends. I said, no problem. Went on Amazon. For $20, I got him a walkie-talkie.
A what?
A walkie-talkie.
There's some people who will not know what that is who are watching this live or on the replay.
You think I'm stupid? I went and I got this nice walkie-talkie that he can put on his belt, walk around, and if I need to get in touch with him, all I need to do is call him on the walkie-talkie and say, time to come inside. You think I'm stupid? I'm not paying mortgage for a device where all I need to do is say, son, come inside now. That's it. Where are you? I'm over here. When I do an event, walkie-talkie. Don't need no phone.
There you go. Time 18188 says, when the court system puts money before time with a child, a father doesn't mean anything to his children. We have to be honest that I don't see no man keeping her mother away from a child. Okay. Katrina says AI is a cheat code. These kids will not learn. Also, yes, teachers will run it through a database to see if you cheat. Katrina says, I will do anything for my children to achieve their career goals. I want them to surpass me.
As they should. As they should.
LOL. I try with some of the walkie-talkie and all that stuff. LOL with the walkie-talkie. Man, walkie-talkie? What? Walkie-talkie?
Listen, as I said, I am the device king. But, right? I'll take it back to the simpler time when all you needed was this to do what you needed to do. I'm not one of those individuals who is attached to my devices. My devices go ping, ping, ping like a ping pong machine. I got a lot of people who want things from me day to day, whatever, but I will turn off the phone. I'll turn off my devices. I will do things with the paper and pen. One of the greatest things that I got was a book from my Uncle Harry, and it has in all his designs that he did across Jamaica, across the States, and especially in Colorado where he lived in, and Texas, of all the buildings that he designed. His name is Harold Massa, and he's an architect. And to be able to sit there with a pen and a pad and not just write rhymes. That's when most times people, when they hear the word pen and a pad, they think somebody's writing rhymes. He would do all these wonderful drawings of all these wonderful buildings, and to be able to drive by and see the buildings that he created just because he used, his brain and thought of how to write them. He didn't use AutoCAD like they have. Well, AutoCAD is an old thing that they used to use. I don't know if they still use it, but to be able to draw with a pen and a pad and, have an erasing shield and have, the square, and make those lines, is a work of art. And to be able to do those things is great. I play the piano. I can write music, and I do it from ear. To be able to sit there and just go ding, 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 and then remember all the scales. Now, yes, we have devices that can do that. But again, the one thing that they leave out is how to do an effective bridge. And if anybody knows anything about music, they know how important the bridge is to music. When it comes to writing, you write like this. You meander. Music, you meander. School definitely is meandering. You know what I mean? There's going to be highs and lows with school. And a lot of attention needs to be put more on allowing children to figure it out or find a way for them to figure it out. And I think we just want to push everything forward, and then we throw them out into the wilderness and say, okay, we'll survive. How?
Some more comments here. Bone Collector says, my son is in middle school. I'll be searching for programs that will get him interested in trade skills. I'll encourage him to get into a professional trade when ready. Okay. April Shower says, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Katrina says, architecture was my first major. Also says, they loved AutoCAD and they don't use it anymore. They loved AutoCAD and they don't use it anymore. And says, had to have a portfolio before even being considered into that program. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm sure Juiceman has young people will come up to us and say, hey, how do I get into this? How can I get doing what you're doing or do? And I'd say, have you ever done anything yet? Even done one or two shows? They just expect to get there and many of them don't want to do the work.
I'm looking at the microphone that you have in front of you right now. Okay.
Yes.
And as a person who does voiceovers and stuff like that, what you're using right there, if it's the same brand as I think it is a Shure SM7B microphone.
Yep. Okay.
Now, for the majority of people who are watching this program right now, they have no idea that that's probably one of the cheapest mics out there. Of the mics that do condenser type of work. However, Michael Jackson used that same microphone, and it is actually referred to as the Michael Jackson microphone because he recorded Thriller with that same microphone. It is probably the most universal mic used in the studio for podcasts because it is very forgiving.
Yes.
You can bang on the back of it and it picks up nothing. You need a great preamp for it because it's not as sensitive as other microphones. Like you could have construction going on in the back of your house, whatever the case may be. How do I know all this information? Why? Because I actually read how the microphone is used. I don't just find something and use it. And I've been using it for so long. Whatever. There's 3 microphones that people need to understand when they're doing stuff. The silver microphone that you see in almost every picture, that is the Elvis microphone. The long microphone that looks more like a sausage, that is the EV, the electro voice microphone. That is the Stevie Wonder microphone, right? If you see a ribbon microphone, that was used by many jazz musicians and stuff like that. The Neumann microphone is the granddaddy of all microphones. And I'm saying all these things to say to you that I never took a course to do all these things, but I know them. And I'm passionate about things. And that passion is what led me to the careers that I've had. And we need to bring back the passion where kids see things and get excited.
Yeah. Yep.
We need to bring that back. We are in a digital world where, yes, and I think, and I mean, I talk about it with my friends all the time, that the love of music for me was the factor is that I had a record. I was able to take that record, put it on a turntable, take, the tone arm, put it on the record here, and then play that record and just enjoy it. And we had the tapes and we had all that stuff, but now we have digital and people don't even want to spend the money to download a song. It's all about a playlist. Okay, it's a playlist, but they're not learning from that playlist. They're not learning who the producer was. They're not learning who the label rep was. They're not learning who did all that stuff. So that, like, if you like music, how do you learn when everything is digital?
Yeah.
You have to then go Google. And again, people don't use the time to do that. We don't.
And that's the many of our children are growing up with that mindset.
They don't spend the time to go past those things. Like comic books was how a lot of kids learned how to read. Comics books was how a lot of people learned how to draw. We would watch a program and not be able to rewind it because we didn't have VCRs. And I know people out there going, what the hell is a VCR? That was, now we all intentionally watched a TV show at a certain time because that's when it was on. Now with podcasting or whatever the case may be, it's great that you can rewatch something in today's day and age, but it takes away from the feeling of being there when it happened.
In the moment.
And we are not living in the moment anymore. Kids are going to school, but if you, as I said at the beginning, if you allow them to write the test and not go into school, they're not being present. And I say this to every one of my friends. If you want to be my friend, if you want to be somebody who I consider as part of my circle, I need you to be present. You don't have to ask me why I'm sad today. You should already know.
Yeah, talking about this microphone, and for many, many years, I said, man, I ain't going to spend that amount of money for that microphone. Not going, the microphone I used before that was a Samsung Q2U. And before that was the Audio Technica, it's a AT2000, whatever. And I said, you know what? I'm going to find a way. And it took me a long time.
I won't even lie. I used to listen, no disrespect to Dr. Vibe. When he would show me the mics that he would use, I'd laugh at him. I'd do like, dude, No. I said, you're doing, and I would tell him, I said, you're doing this on so many platforms. Yes, you can get away with that. But once you get that SM7B microphone, and back in the day, it was $499.
Yeah.
And nobody, and he was looking at me like, $499 for a mic? I said, dude, that microphone now is $899 or $799.
But here's the funny story on top of it. And I'm going to shout out someone very special in just a moment. All you're special. We have a very special friend, and I want to say friend in the house right now. But so I went on Kijiji, right? So for people who aren't in the Toronto, Kijiji is like a digital buy and sell, which I believe, I don't know if it's still owned by PayPal or not. I'm not sure. And so I waited my time, and I ended up, and this is about 2 or 3 years ago, I got it for $300.
A used microphone?
Pardon me?
You bought a used microphone? Was it used or new?
New.
Okay, good.
It was new.
Again, I would tell
but
people.
then it was a number of years old. But again, how much time did it take me to start using it was a whole other conversation piece. But now I get it. I get it. And like, so people, if you're serious about what you're doing online, they're like, as Juiceman said, Michael Jackson, when you watch a lot of podcasts, take a look at the microphone they're using. Probably at least 75% of the people are using this microphone. The ones who are serious, they're using this microphone.
The majority of the commercials that I voiced in my life are on that same microphone.
There you go.
The beer commercials that I've done where I need to have a little bit more of a wider tone or a more ballsy tone, whatever, are done on a $5,000 Neumann microphone.
Yes, Newman. Norman. Yeah, I remember. I haven't heard that brand in a long time.
Yeah.
More comments here. Katrina says, "Wow, to your Michael Jackson story with the Shure SM7B."
And rest in peace, Michael Jackson as well too. He passed away. Was it 2000?
Yeah, just with like a day or so. Was he at 50 years old? He died. Now his anniversary of his death was just recent. Yeah, someone says, I remember when the TV went off at a certain time. I remember though. Yep.
It's 11 o'clock. You know where your children are.
Yeah, that was 11 o'clock. WKBW. Was it
Channel 7, ABC? Yeah, Channel 7. It's 11 o'clock. You know where your children are.
People were nostalgia. 2 channels, black and white. We only had a few channels. Here's something really crazy. My dad is so old school. One of his TVs, it's an antenna outside.
And they still work.
They work. They work. I'm gonna get to someone in just another person saying Reading Rainbow was replaced by Rick and Morty, and then with whoever they find on YouTube. Reading Rainbow, and there was also conjunction. Oh, what was it?
Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock, which was the launch. Wasn't that one of the stepping stones for Morgan Freeman?
Yes.
And
Electric Company.
Electric Company, yes. Electric Company too. Yes. No remote, just knobs. Yes.
No, listen. Don't forget the pliers, man. You have to have a pair of pliers.
Bone Glass says the music industry is about over. Heck, AI is supposedly getting record deals. AI will write you a book too.
That's not true. Okay, one of the things I want to make sure that everybody understands, right, is everybody's been saying AI. A lot of people are pushing back on the whole aspect of AI because AI is just like the digital revolution when we came out with CDs. When CDs first came out, a lot of people were like, nah, man, this thing sounds way too tingy. You know, it just doesn't have the warmth on it. And for real music aficionados, and again, I'm going to use this word again, is they pushed back on AI. Yes, James Earl Jones and many other people have, now that they're dead, allowed Lucasfilms to use their voice in an AI platform, you know, to continue to generate certain things, to keep the characters alive. But for the most part, yes, you are seeing a couple of songs that are released by AI and they sound half decent, but a lot of people are pushing back against it. I mean, I'm in the industry where we do voiceovers and we're busier than ever. AI is a tool. It is
Yes.
not. It is not the do all. We use AI to sometimes clean up vocals. We use AI to somewhat as plugins. We use it sometimes to do fills, but we don't necessarily make AI the whole tapestry for everything else. So please stop doing that. I just listen. AI used to stand for Adobe Audition.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, Adobe Illustrator. That's what AI used to stand for me.
Okay. So Bone Collector says we need structured community-based centers all over the country with agreed upon promise, rites of passage. Yes.
There is
Agreed.
one. There is actually an organization in Canada. It's called ROPE. It's called the ROPE program, which is called the Rites of Passage Initiative. It's done by a gentleman by the name of Mickey Hutchinson.
Mickey Hutchinson still doing that.
Still doing it. And what he does is he makes parents, and this is the dopest program on the planet. He makes parents sign a contract that says, you will help your child graduate grade 12. What we will do is help your child to graduate, and we'll also help him get shoes, suit, computer, and all the things he needs to make sure that he or she needs to get to the next level in life. I'll write a resume for him to get him a job.
Okay. Jay says, greetings, Dr. Vibe. Didn't know you were live. Awesome. Well, I hope you have me on notification. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification and subscribe, and you'll know that. And also thank you for the comments you're making on some of the videos that I'm putting up, especially the shorts. He also says AI books are garbage. They invaded science fiction stories on YouTube. They can be interesting, but the writing is horrible. Another person says, I hope AI destroys the modern music, and music should be grassroots and ground level performances. Agreed.
I will agree to disagree. I will say that one of the things that needs to happen with music is music needs to go back to having major and minor chords. We need to structure music back to where people are actually playing instruments. If you want to sample those instruments, that's fine. But let's generate them in the way that they were supposed to be generated, where you had, drums, syncopated rhythms. Bring back the horn section again to music.
That's why I love my jazz music.
Listen,
that's why I love my jazz music.
I'll plug it right now. Like, I mean, I'm still the image voice for Jazz FM 91 right here in Canada. So I mean, I love doing the promos. So it's one of when I do jazz stuff, my ears are, I use this word called eargasms. I get eargasms when
eargasm. Word of the day, eargasm. And Jay also says, of course, love your channel. Thank you, Jay. And then I want to hail up someone very special who just jumped in a few moments ago. Camille Dundas says, good morning, family. Juiceman dropping some truth bombs. For those who do not know Camille Dundas, and she probably say, Dr. Vibe, shut your mouth. Her and her wonderful husband, BuyBlacks.com. But I'm going to say this. I mean, she is one of the top. Let me do this. Great human being, great mother, incredible journalist, incredible fighter.
Historian. My God.
And incredible human being that
facts.
She's done so much. And I really want, and anytime I get to see Camille, I always say thank you, and always I verbally give her flowers. I don't give her flowers. I verbally give it to her right there. So Camille.
Hey, you know what? I'm not going to even tear up, because when I think of like Roger and Camille, I'm actually just remembering wow. Okay. It's so ironic that she's calling today, or on today. Camille did a feature on my mother about her paycheck that she got from Eaton's.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. I know where you're going with this.
My mom's gone 30 years today. So I thank you for that.
Nothing just happens.
I thank you for that.
Nothing just happens. Camille, we love you. We celebrate you. We elevate you. And we know Roger's there for you, but there are 2 Black men here also that are for you. Anytime, anywhere, any places. The song goes by Janet Jackson. Anytime, any place.
Yeah.
I think this is a great way to end today's conversation. Epic as usual. Another good one. We ended off with it. We started with, I think we have to continue this conversation. And I'm going to reach out to Frequency Event Promotion, because he says a monthly feature. I'd like to see what that to ask him what would that look like? Because I think there's some definite wonderfulness there. I'll answer this question also too. I see. Dr. Vibe, are you like Dr. Dre or an honorary doctor? No problem. That's the name I've used since I came online. And if you want, I can give you the story how I got the name, but you got to ask, because I'm not just going out. But the funny thing is, ever since the pandemic, people have always asked me, how did you get the name Dr. Vibe? So if you ask, I'll give you that. I'll give you the story behind it. But yeah, I think that another full conversation topic today. Any final words that you have for today, Juiceman?
Yes, it's a very important one, and it has nothing to do with the topic, but I'll say this. When you drop people off, wait for them to go inside their house and flick the light off. Is very, very important. And now that we have a new generation of graduates, we're going to have a new generation of people who are dating. And I'm going to tell you this as a person who has sons and daughters, right? If you text my child to say, come outside, I'm outside waiting for you, my child is not going anywhere. That's number one. Number two, walk people to their door and come and ring the doorbell and get to know the parents of the people who you decide to go out with. I may be old school and we don't want to do things like we used to, whatever the case would be, and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, as I was bringing up the movie A Bronx Tale, let's have a little bit more of person-to-person contact.
Yes.
Not just, you know, you drop somebody off and you're gone, or, you know, text them and say, meet me outside. Do the proper thing and go to the door, ring the doorbell and say, hey, I'm here to take you out, meet the parents, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Because again, and parents also be a little bit more accommodating when your sons or daughter, you know, bring home that person, so they don't feel so intimidated and doing things and cloaking their moves in the shadows, if you understand what I mean.
Well said. All right. So let's wind it down here. So subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. And I see that some of you have subscribed during this conversation. So thank you very much. Remember to subscribe and also hit the notification button, because there's always shows going on here. Also like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and Substack. Join our Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com, or the link. Advertise your business product or service on any of the platforms I'm a part of. Email me dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Here's the link for the survey, and all this is in the chat, in the comment section, where on whatever platform you're watching this, live or on replay. If you want to get a hold of Jonathan, and that's JONATHANO Shaw.com. You can also catch him this Sundays from 10 a.m. Eastern to 12 noon Eastern on the Talk About on flow98.7.com. Juiceman, what's coming up on this Sunday show?
Bring back our boys and girls, all the missing young boys and girls. We'll be having Shanna McCullough on the show talking about the missing boys and girls that have been happening in the country of Canada.
And there's resonance here. Roger saying, I agree with that, Jonathan. We're waiting on people to go in. Also meeting all the friends.
Very important.
And I know that Roger and Camille do that. So that's really, really important. If you want to get a hold of Ryan Knight, RyanOneilKnight.com. That's Knight with a KN, not an N. If you want to find out about me, toplink.cc/the DRVIBESHOW.com. And then finally, you can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Ryan Oneil Knight on YouTube, and Afro Caribbean Business Network on YouTube. All right, we are out of here. So as always, I want to say thank you for taking the most important thing, your time to watch us. Coming up on this Monday's Morning Vibe. Where are we were supposed to do it today, but I pushed it back on a Monday. Where are the humans in customer service? Where are the humans in customer service? Look at this. So you're getting some flowers here. Glad I caught Juiceman live. I've seen the shorts and remembered the name as I wanted to hear more. Great guest, very intelligent individual.
Thank you.
And another person here saying, my first time listening to the show, enjoyed listening. Thank you. Well, if you're up to it, subscribe and on YouTube and hit the notification button so you get more of these conversations coming up on the weekend. Got more epic conversations happening. So as we leave with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions, aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both. And as always, make it better. And again, a big shout out to Camille Dundas. Thank you, Camille. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Past, present, and future. Be well and keep the faith.